People told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA.
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 56 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host Gabriel, alongside
Adam Casucci.
And today we have another two games to bring you of the regular season. The Toronto Raptors had two interesting nights, and we got a lot to talk about. As always, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let us know your opinions, and follow us on all our platforms. Adam?
Our Toronto Raptors once again lose to the Phoenix Suns 123-115 in a much better showing than their previous 6 games, at least on the offensive end of the ball. Obviously, a loss is a loss, but we did fight to the very end and competed at a high level throughout the game, but simply got outplayed by the better team. The Suns made 21 out of 43s, which was the really tail of the story, and also had 30 team assists, which you can see coming from the players they have on the roster: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, high IQ players, DeAndre Ayton, who's learning to pass the ball very well. And Gabe, why was the Raptors offense so explosive and efficient in this game compared to prior games?
We saw a big step up from our starters, specifically Pascal Siakam, who managed to put up 32 points tonight. I think that he tends to do good against the Suns, and he showed it off this night. He's willing to attack, drive, not settle for three-pointers. We like seeing that. And the other players stepped up too. OG Anunoby, who was someone that's been inconsistent, stepped up pretty well. And I think the starters just really put it together on the offensive end.
That's a great point, but the Raptors also did out-rebound the Suns 42-41, which has been a struggle so far this season. So glad to see Nurse adjusting tactics to help that cause, as well crediting the players for an impactful increase in intensity, which was noticeable, I felt, just watching them. Another important thing I do want to mention is that Fred VanVleet mentioned a valuable statement that this Raptors team may have to go by this year. He said something along the lines of, our team isn't going to go out there and outskill the other team on most nights. The wins are probably going to come from outworking the opponents and wanting to win more. Gabe, what's your take on this one?
Well, clearly we had a little bit of a downgrade this offseason, and we know we're not the best team on paper, but we do fight and play with a lot of heart, especially in the good nights. We'll get to the better night after this, but even this game, we showed a lot of fight, especially on the offensive end. Defense, we really need to step it up. But I think the statement pretty much holds true in that we just have to work our asses off on both ends. Being able to defend and then go out there, make transition plays, and get the offense rolling.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was a great explanation. But yeah, we got to play collectively as a team in order to win games, especially with the players we have. Not saying that we're not skilled at all, but I think that the other teams will have the majority of the star players, and we have to take that into account and play better as a team to get the victories. So moving on, the Suns played phenomenal offense in terms of executing their plays, always having a nice flow to the offense, and most importantly, showed an elite team IQ, which usually comes with a winning team. Booker was really quiet early, but then got kind of left off the hook, to be honest, in the second half. CP3 was quiet for the most part. The issue this game was Phoenix's role players: Crowder, Bridges, Johnson, Saric, and Ayton. If you don't consider him a star already, all had double-digit scoring, which in the end was the deciding factor between the win and the loss. I really liked their additions of Crowder and Paul in the off-season, and I think it really helped their team.
Yeah, veteran experience obviously proves useful, and here we saw that. Crowder stepped up big for them, 21 points, 7 for 11 shooting. Even Cameron Johnson had a great night, 16 points. The role players did step up, and it proved to be a problem, especially because we were getting dominated by the star player of each team for the most part. So I guess maybe coming up against a little bit of a different matchup here when the role players stepped up, we kind of had a problem slowing them down.
That is honestly really true. Siakam with a magnificent performance. I want to bring it into him this game and really got back to what got him to being the player he is today. And that was the inside crafty scoring, utilizing up and unders, spin moves, and fadeaways from close range. Right from the gate, you can see he was ready to perform tonight. He scored the Raptors' first 9 points of the game and took less threes this game, only with 4. The reason why I'm so imminent about Pascal eliminating that 3 ball right now is because out of the 7 games so far this season, excluding the last game, Pascal has never shot over 50% from 3. His defense on Crowder wasn't the best, but I can't blame it just on Pascal because our guards were getting blown by this game, causing our big men to step and leave their man. So it was kind of like an overall effort of the team defense. The one negative that still irked me from tonight was Pascal's drop-off of play in the fourth quarter. Scored 29 through 3 quarters, played an amazing game, don't get me wrong, but then ended up with 32 and only scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. Is this because of fatigue and Pascal is a high-paced player, or what's causing him to have such a drop-off in those late game stages?
It's really tough to say, but, for the first 3 quarters, he played very well, decisive, smart takes, aggressive to the basket. I think he made the best plays he could have, and I was impressed with some of his moves. They were kind of crafty, some step-throughs, euros, and ones. He was trying up a bunch of different things, and I liked it. I felt on defense, I think he was a little scared to put in some contact, especially because of foul trouble as of recently. I might have left him scarred a little bit because he looked kind of soft out there, but so did the rest of the team on defense. Don't get me wrong, it was a bad defensive night for the entire team, but he did look a little weak there. And fourth quarter, it's hard to explain why. Something's going wrong here, but it's like a fourth quarter clutch scenario. He starts to miss a shot, make a bad pass, can't get stuff to fall. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the pressure getting to him in those late minutes and making the right play. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we're seeing a steady increase here, especially in the last game with him performing in the fourth. So it's great to see from Pascal. Moving on to OG, I thought he had a great night on both ends of the floor, honestly, at least in the one-on-one coverages. Like I said in the last episode, he hit his threes tonight, which opened up his driving and inside game, and I think that really helped him.
Started slow, but overall as an average, I think he had a great game for him. 20 points, 8 boards, 80% shooting. He got aggressive on offense, got to the right spots, some cuts, some putback dunks. I think that's all we can ask of him is that performance like that.
Moving on to Freddie, he started off with a bang in the first quarter, was scoring 7, but then really cooled down as the game went on. But his playmaking and vision was fantastic as always, and read the defense well. Fred did struggle a bit defensively, letting their guards get past him fairly easily in this game. But like I said, for Siakam, it was a game where most individuals couldn't be blamed for poor defense, as it was a team effort. And I thought Freddie had a good game overall. Just wasn't a scoring threat tonight.
Yeah, that says a lot because this was probably his worst game of the season, but it wasn't even a horrible performance. But yeah, like the guards specifically, it looked like they were having problems letting their guys blow by, and then that would cause a kick out to maybe the wing player, and then they would make a basket or a rotation player that was on. So it looked like the guards were struggling on defense, but yeah, pretty decent performance, honestly. It wasn't horrible from him, just probably statistically his worst performance yet, and it wasn't bad, so it's okay.
Lowry was clutch in the big moments, nailing a big 3 from the corner to keep the Raps in the game. He rebounded the ball exceptionally well tonight and had a lot of heart, obviously, never giving up on every play. You can see his commitment to the team and how much he wants to get back to winning, even though they didn't get the job done in this game here. But Lowry, you can see that he wanted to win so badly and will do anything. Doesn't matter if it's a charge or diving out of bounds play. He just really wants that win to get the team rolling again and get back to their old ways, you know?
Yes, especially in the first half, he looked like he was trying to will this team, outworking guys, out-muscling. He was just going at it, picking up 7 rebounds in the first half for a guard. That's fantastic. I think he was the highest rebounder on the team this game. Pretty much almost all the starters had more than Baines, actually. The only person was Fred, who had 4, and Baines had 5, so still pretty close. But Kyle did it all over the floor, rebounding, scoring, passing, pretty much did it all. 24 points, 6 assists, 9 for 15 shooting. You can't ask for a better night from Kyle. Obviously, like team defense, same thing. We'll keep reiterating it, but that was the only downfall tonight.
Moving on to Baines and Len. Combined gave us 1 point in 24 minutes of play. Absolutely nothing in terms of defense. Is Nick's short leash working on these two guys? Gabe, do you think that him taking them off and really kind of benching them is this like method really working?
Well, I like it personally because I want to win games and them on the floor is not working.
Yep.
Whether or not that's going to change their performances and make them better down the road, who knows? Maybe not. But I want to win games each and every night, and if that's the way to do it, take them off the floor.
Yeah, I feel like both of these guys are still adjusting to the work ethic that everyone wants to see them play at. It's a bad performance after bad performance with these guys, and Nurse, in my opinion, is sugarcoating the situation to the media by saying they've done all right, and that's just not the case. Maybe the results in practice aren't coming forward into the game. I don't know what it is, but I just don't think they have enough talent to be on this team, and I'm being totally serious when I say this. And I will stick with that for the rest of the season, so I'm not going to be changing my opinion even if they do have a couple of good games. It's just seeing them for multiple games now, I can see what they bring. I can see what effort they kind of give. And I'm not liking it from the big fellas so far.
Yeah, Baines especially, he looked lost out there, especially in that first half. He barely played afterwards because he had such a bad game, but that first half looked kind of lost, dropping the ball, turning it over. At the beginning, there was a bunch of weird plays. He was dribbling it off his foot, rebounds. He was bobbling it in his hands. He couldn't grab it. There was one horrible play to watch where it touched 10 people's hands. Everyone kept tipping it, diving on the floor, and they couldn't get the ball. It was horrible. He literally didn't do much on the floor at all, and he just looked completely out of it. Can't catch a ball. That's if you can't do that at center, you're pretty much out of a use here. All he had was 5 rebounds on his stat line and nothing else. 0 for 2 shooting, a turnover. That's it. 13 minutes of play.
Yeah, not enough from those two guys. We want to see more. Boucher, Powell both brought the spark off the bench and are starting to really make it clear that they are the 6th and 7th guys and soon coming starters, in my opinion, in the rotation. Powell got to the line 8 times, which is great to see, and Boucher is much more consistent this season on his production on offense. So it's great to see that these two guys are performing here.
Yeah, honestly, hope for more from Boucher. He's been playing great. We wanted more minutes. I guess Pascal had a good night, so they looked to him for a lot of the minutes at the 4, and then even at the 5, they played him quite a bit. So I think maybe that was a look they were going for. I'm surprised we didn't get more Boucher this game, especially because he did play, quite well for over the past couple of games so far. But even this game, 9 points, 3 for 4 shooting in 15 minutes, 2 assists, a block as always. So can't complain there. And Norm didn't have the best shooting night, but he did a good job getting to the rack, getting to the line, keeping himself warm, and being a solid 6-man.
I totally agree on that. Moving on to Watanabe and Flynn. Gabe, I know you love Watanabe, and he's turning into a fan favorite here. But mostly Watanabe I want to talk about. He really got a chance in this game especially, and he hit a 3, played great defense, and you see the potential in this kid. When he plays with such versatility, you can play him in any position really, 1 to 4. And his shot-making ability will be key in his growth, I think. He can just shoot from anywhere, and he's a great team defender and rebounder we're seeing.
Yeah, he didn't play the most amount of minutes. I think he got 15, kind of the same as Boucher. And I guess the pass call at the 5 was how they put Watanabe into play there, was putting him at the 4. And I like him personally a lot just for his effort, man. He keeps plays alive. He tips offensive rebounds. He saves the ball. He hustles on defense 110%. Keeps the guy in front of him. Stays close, contests shots, rebounding. He's really big on focusing on rebounding, and we need that desperately. So I love to see that. Hit a 3 right away when he got into the game. That was fantastic. Second half, he made a couple more mistakes on the offensive end. That's still got to come fully to him, but I'm loving the effort that I'm seeing so far. And, I want to see more of him. I'm glad that he's getting a little bit more minutes in the rotation purely because of size and defensive ability. It looks like something that we need. And then, Malachi Flynn, didn't play, pretty much at all. He came on for a couple minutes, missed 3 shots straight. He had a 3-pointer that sadly didn't go. I think he had a midi and a floater that kind of rimmed out. And I didn't touch the floor after that just because he couldn't get it going. And, we need to see more from him. Luckily, we got a bit of that in the Sacramento game. Okay, so Gabe, transitioning into the Sacramento game. The Raptors get their second win of the season, 144-123 against the Sacramento Kings. This game for sure is in my top 20 Raptors games for sure that I've watched all time. Because of the energy and fight that the Raptors displayed in this game, I really thought, and it was great. The Raptors scored the most ever points in regulation with 144, which is a record. Totally did not see this coming, honestly, after starting the first quarter poorly, giving up 43 points. But by the look of it, after the Kings got hot in that first quarter, I'm sure most Raptor fans were thinking this is going to be a long night again.
But surprisingly, the tides turned in the Raptors' favor after playing well as a team and feeding off of each other, honestly. And I thought it was a great night all around for the Raptors and really showed effort and fight once again tonight.
Yep, first quarter got us really scared. We were absolutely horrible on defense, 43 points in a single quarter. Like the Suns game, I got a little weary here. I'm like, wow, this is going to be another bad one. Decent offense, but no defense. But luckily, second quarter, we turned it around. The defense turned up, and we brought the comeback on the rest of the game. We did very solid on both ends. So luckily, the tides turned, and this game was a test. We were without Kyle. He was out for personal reasons. Nurse finally stepped up and decided to keep Baines on the bench because he's been playing so bad. But he still decided to start Alex Len instead of Chris Boucher, which is very questionable. And Alex Len, very similarly, had a poor start. Only played, 4 minutes and then didn't touch the floor after that. So that was another interesting point that we saw tonight.
Yep. Before we get into that, but I thought Kyle Lowry was also out due to personal reasons. Just wanted to make it clear. And Jabari Parker from the Kings was out due to COVID-19. More game facts. I think the Raptors shot 58% from the field and 51% from three, which is amazing. Looking at the Raptors offense this year, not producing obviously as much as those numbers in the prior games. But the Raptors also out-rebounded the Kings 44-26, starting to patch up that issue and really working towards getting a lot of rebounds and really out-rebounding their opponent night after night. Everyone was really giving 100% and did not want to let their teammates down. Nick also used the term the snowball effect post-game, meaning that if you see your teammates working their asses off, you want to do the same thing and not drop the intensity level. And that's just with all sports in general, I think. So now talking about Sacramento and how they played, I thought they played well offensively and moved the ball well and ultimately knocked down a lot of shots. But their problem was they caught this hungry Raptors team trying to get a statement victory and couldn't match that same energy that the Raptors had. Looking at the stats, their players shot almost all over 50% and 6 players getting to double-digit scoring. De'Aaron Fox stamped his mark early with tough finishes at the rim. His speed caused a lot of problems for the Raptors as well, and he had 23. The steady veteran Harrison Barnes had 21. Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield had 15. Rashawn Holmes had 10. And Tyrese Halliburton, the 12th overall pick that fell in the draft, had 15 as well with 5 made threes.
Yeah, they had some good performances. Fox was very challenging at times. That 23 points, 2 steals, 9 for 11. Obviously, it was a good night for him. Harrison Barnes as well. That 20 bomb from him, 21 points. He did really good. Halliburton, he seemed like a very impressive rookie, shooting all those threes. I think he had 5 of them by the end of the night. Can't forget 8 assists for him as well, 2 steals. He looked like he did well on both ends, looked very comfortable out there. Buddy Hield, another person, had a great night. So they had a bunch of good pieces. Like you said, I think they just caught us when we were desperate and we needed this win. So we put in a lot of fight to get this one back, but they showed a lot of promise in that first quarter, and obviously they looked ready for a good game.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate for the Kings. I thought they played very well, but just didn't have enough tonight against the hungry Raptors team. Siakam, moving into our players, had one of the best performances I've ever seen him play, honestly. Not by a statistical standpoint, but just his ability to read the defense and make good plays with whatever he was given. Once again, he only shot 2 threes, which moved all his focus to his mid-range and inside game. He had a career night with assists, getting 12, which is a record. And it made me really happy to see because he's been struggling with that, getting a high number of assists as well as reading the defense. So it's great to see him pick it up and understand now what he has to do. Even though it's one game, I really think he could build off of this, and this will grow his confidence in looking to make extra passes. Defensively, he was alive and reminded me of the defense he brought to us in the first and second year. And he ended up with 17 points, 9 rebounds, along with his 12 assists. I thought it was a great overall night for Pascal.
Yeah, one of the best we've seen in a while. Obviously, coming off the Suns game, he did it, decently on the stat line, had good points there, good scoring. And then when he brought to this game, we saw more by watching the game. That was an easier way to tell. He looked like he was making much smarter plays. You could tell in his assist numbers, at least 12 assists. He was very unselfish with the rock. He wasn't taking any bad shots. He looked more to dish guys that were open, play around him. Obviously here and there's a bad player too, but you can't have an absolutely perfect night. But he had a very solid night in general, though. He was 1 rebound away from a triple-double, 17, 9, and 12. Good shooting. He was efficient. I just think that he made the right decisions this game. He just played smart, worked really hard on defense, and played that two-way game that he kind of was built off of. And it showed here tonight that he can just show that he still can be an impactful player as long as he does what he's used to. Don't try to get out of your comfort zone, out of your game. Stick to defending and then going the other way, driving to the rack, getting contact, playmaking. That seems to be working well for him.
Next, we have OG. I thought he had a tough night. Still having a bumpy road on offense, really. Struggling from 3, 0 for 4, and still showing hesitancy. He got to the free throw line 6 times, which I thought was a success, but was a crucial part of the defense when going small especially. And I have to give him credit for that because he is the person grabbing a lot of rebounds and having to guard the bigger guys who he is a bit smaller than, at least height-wise. So he's done a great job transitioning from a small forward to a power forward and really kind of working between those two positions.
Yeah, I think you said it best. He struggled to shoot tonight. That 3 ball was something we've been kind of weary about, but he struggled tonight. But on the defensive end, he did do his part, and that 4-5, kind of switch up from the 3 to the 4. If he switches with Pascal on some plays, maybe at the 5. So he had to do his fair job defensively, and Sacramento they don't have too much of like a big team per se, like they don't have a dominating center, someone like Embiid or something. So this lineup was interesting and it worked decently. I'm guessing maybe this is something we're going to look for a little bit if we can play Pascal at the 5 and OG at the 4 or something and get Norm in that rotation more. But that's going to come depending on the matchups who we're versing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point though, that depending on who we're versing, his really position will be switched up, and I think Nurse will take that into account. Moving into Fred, he was really the guy to watch tonight and delivered a monster performance. 34 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. With Kyle missing, he really stepped in and really filled his shoes, to be honest. Fred has been the most consistent player this season with no doubt, and is living up to all the hype and expectations suspected of him. His game in the off season, really expanding it, was honestly huge for Fred and makes him a difficult matchup for any defender. And I think that really has helped him. And now defenders are starting to see that they have to worry about his mid-range game as well. And it's just causing problems all over the floor for defenders.
Yeah, he's shown off great versatility in his game. 34-point night, man. Wow. And then you have 5 3 balls coming off of that. 7 assists. He lit it up as usual. Definitely becoming a top reliable scorer. Shooting the 3 well, clutching up, hitting late shots, countless big shots, extending our lead. This is what we need from Fred. This is what we want from Fred. And I'm glad that we're getting it right now. He's showing off that he is consistent and reliable, and we need to see that from the rest of the team as well.
Yep. Powell starts. He does well. It's just the way it works. He had 22 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and played great defense all game, in my opinion. I think he should be moved to the starting lineup if he keeps playing this way as a starter. And we know that there's an opportunity with Baines and Len playing poorly, which would mean Siakam at the 5. Nurse mentioned post-game that keeping Powell in the starting small forward position is a real option looking forward. And I think he could really benefit from that. I think being a starter gives him much more confidence that he said. And he said when being a starter, you can kind of read the defense and what they're giving you. You can feel the pace of the game, feel the rhythm. And I think that's what really helps him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see his role there, the starter. Like I guess we can see him starting so far. We've won both times he started, and Pascal at the 5. There's a possibility of that with the Len and Baines, but once again, obviously it's going to have to depend on matchup because there's a lot of great centers in this league that are taller, heavier, stronger than Pascal, and they can abuse that matchup for sure. Maybe we'll be more precise with the double team and we'll go more small ball. It's possible, but I don't know. We probably won't be seeing it consistently, but I'd still like to see it once in a while because so far Powell looks like he excels when he's a starter. And tonight, this game was a clear indication of that. He just looked much better offensively, confident in his shooting stroke, making this 3 balls. He did a good job. 22 points for him. What a night. I think that the catch and shoot 3 is something that is critical to his game. And when that falls, he becomes much more of a threat and we can look to him more often. Ending with 4 threes on the night, I think he did his part for sure, and I'm glad that he got a big night like this.
Moving on to Baines and Len. Baines was benched. Nurse kind of establishing that punishing attitude. Players aren't going to give their all out there. You're not going to play. Len started, played 4 minutes, didn't register a statistic in those 4 minutes. Nurse then pulled him for the night and benches him. So he clearly is trying to say that if Len and Baines aren't impacting this team in a positive way while you're out there, then you won't be playing. It's just that simple. That's what Nurse is kind of putting out there. And Boucher is on the rise right now. Kind of, I think, going to leapfrog those two guys. So I think if Len and Baines aren't going to provide out there, then I have no problem with Nurse taking action and not playing them.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. Like I said it before, Baines is not playing well, man. You got to give him some treatment. You talked about it, and I mentioned Len. 4 minutes, didn't do anything, took him right off, and the other lineups worked better, man. Pascal at the 5, it worked somewhat decent. Getting Boucher the backup minutes, Watanabe in there, OG. We seem to do well without them in. So, if they're not playing their part, they're not showing something useful, this is an opportunity. This is a game where Nurse said, hey, we got guys that can fill your role. So earn it.
Yeah, I want to also give a major credit here to the bench. Honestly, Boucher, Davis, Watanabe, Flynn, and Johnson all had great nights. It was a great effort defensively, just a team effort collectively on the defensive end. Everyone looked like they were switching. The rotations were crisp. Everyone was contesting shots, not letting guys drive by them. It was a great night. Boucher brought you scoring and rebounding with paint protection, having 23 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. Davis brought additional scoring with 18 points. Watanabe and Johnson brought more size and rebounding with the defensive clinic on it, honestly, which really made the night. And Malachi had 12 points and scored his first NBA points, receiving the game ball from Nick Nurse post-game.
Yeah. Third and fourth quarter, we stepped up, man, defensively especially. All these role players, they did a great job being intense. They stopped guys, and they led to buckets in the other end, transition buckets. We were able to outscore them that way. Boucher and Fred, for a moment, they took kind of the load on scoring, but everyone else stepped up defensively, like Watanabe, Johnson. Similar to other games, even the last game I said, they're not the best scoring-wise offensively. They still don't fit in. Watanabe only had 1 3 and then shot 1 for 5. Johnson didn't score, but 7 rebounds for Watanabe and 1 block. Stanley Johnson, 4 rebounds. And they hustled their butts off on definitely the defensive end, staying with their guys, keeping their men in front of them, and just hustling all around. It transitioned really well, and we played fantastically those 2 quarters. And the other bench players like Terrence Davis, he had a fantastic night. He caught fire near the end, hit a bunch of big threes, ended with 4 of them, and 18 points for him, man. That's a performance to say, hey, I'm a part of this bench and I want minutes too. He showed it off. I was very impressed. And Malachi Flynn finally got the light of day. He was able to get some shots to land, a big 3-pointer from deep, another 3-pointer as well. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for him on good shooting. This is the game we want to see. He probably wanted to keep up with Halliburton and say, hey, I can hit them deep as well. And, I want minutes as well. Every person on this team kind of stepped up and said, hey, I want my minutes, besides Len and Baines. So they got to realize right now they're falling behind.
Yeah, that's kind of the reality of things for sure, Gabe. Moving on, Bembry, Watson, Harris, and Thomas all subbed in the last couple minutes. Didn't really get to see too much of them. But I have a couple questions to end this episode. Can this game really spark a turnaround in this team, especially after putting on a performance tonight without your really leader, Lowry?
Well, you know what? We desperately needed a win. So I'm going to say that this is the start of something. This can help turn the team around. Whether or not we're going to win Sunday's game against Golden State, I guess when this video comes out, that game would have just passed. That's a different story. We're versing some tough opponents, but we definitely need to see this game spark some fire under our guys and get us turned around. And we need to get going, man, because we are behind right now. We have one of the worst records in the league. We're not playing good. So this could be the start of something. Hopefully our team realizes that, we're kind of being the laughingstocks right now. We're very embarrassed, especially the fan base, for the performance our team has given us. And now it's the team's job to step up and, play better.
Totally agree once again. It's just not the performances we want to see, but there is a turnaround to this, and I know there'll be another gear that the Raptors hit. The Raptors players, though, seemed very serious post-game. I'm sure they were smiling in the locker room and stuff, but post-game they came out very serious. And I think it's because they understand it's just one win, and they have to continue to build on this one. One win isn't gonna make you the playoffs or anything. They're still 2-6, you know. So
yeah, it's one win is definitely not anything, you know, to be celebrating. And Sacramento Kings, you know, right now they're in the 10th position in the West, but they're traditionally haven't been the best team over the past couple of years. They have, I think, the longest playoff drought right now. So that's not a huge celebration waiting to happen, but hopefully the guys are at least, you know, have a little more confidence in them and they're ready to go for Golden State, which will be a true test since Stephen Curry is on an absolute tear right now. All right, so just to recap quickly, I'm giving player of the game to the first game to Pascal Siakam because, you know, he's been needing some type of explosion on his offensive game, and we're going to give it to him for that one just because he was able to turn up and some of the other guys had some trouble scoring. And then in second game, obviously, it's got to be Fred VanVleet. The whole team played very well. Honestly, I wish I could give it to everybody, but if we're going to go single player, I'm going to give it to Fred just for the fantastic performance he had. All right, we hope you all enjoyed. As always, please like and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram at Rapzville for NBA news and Raptors content. And check out other videos as well. Leave your comments down below. And as always, that's us signing out. Peace.